unable to see anything outside of the myopic perspective, the probabilities and equations. It's like this sort of ostensibly dispassionate and algorithmic approach to the well-being of humankind. For example,
hold on. Listen. This is again very confusing to a lot of people, and maybe she just genuinely doesn't understand this. Scientific pursuits are supposed to be dispassionate. There's nothing like she makes fun of people for being nerdy, but like someone has to do this work. Someone has to be dispassionate and algorithmic because the rest of us are emotional. We don't have to pay people to be emotional. Everyone can just be, we have to pay people to like the Super Bowl or Dancing with the Stars. They just do it anyway. We have to pay people and we have to fund individuals and motivate individuals to be dispassionate and algorithmic. Otherwise, we never come up with formulas for putting ships into space, building skyscrapers, and coming up with ways of curing diseases. Someone must be dispassionate and algorithmic. That's not a bad thing. That's a feature, not a bug. And I don't understand this criticism. A scientist being dispassionate and algorithmic, 2 thumbs up. That sounds like a good scientist to me. What am I missing here?
You're missing the fact that everything that comes out of her mouth goes through the filter of emotionalism. So if someone is dispassionate, that means there's something very wrong with them. They're retarded. They're completely messed up in some way.
Exactly.
Anyone not absolutely brain broken by Evo Psych would just be like, maybe it's just nice to be nice to other people because we've evolved to be a social species who live in groups who like look after each other. Whereas
again, this is another, we've already done this once. Remember when she talked about the girl who put her hands behind her back? He goes, well, I could have figured out that putting your hands behind your back is weird and I didn't need evolutionary scientists to teach me that. Watch, she's doing it again. Watch this. She does the same thing. Listen to what she says here.
Maybe it's just nice to be nice to other people because we've evolved to be a social species who live in groups who like look after each other. Whereas academics in the field of Evo Psych are like, hey babe, one day at the Evo Psych lab today, it took a while to apply our finding from mice to humans, so I brought you some flowers to say sorry. Oh babe, you didn't have to. Actually, yes, I did, because in order to secure the passing of my genes to the next generation, Darwinian evolution provides an explanation for cooperative behavior.
Again, so because cooperative behavior may be able to be explained by like a couple of ladies drinking wine around a fire, because it could be explained that way, therefore this explanation, the Darwinian explanation, is nerdy and try hard and should be derided with high-pitched voices and props.
And your brain is broken if you don't.
Your brain is broken if you don't understand that.
Because
exactly.
Everyone, and notice the language. Everyone should. Why can't we just be nice to emotional language? Why can't we all just be nice to each other?
No, but she's trying to say, why are we nice to one another? And then the answer is, well, because of Darwinian altruism. Right. Whatever. Right. There's a bunch of kin selection.
Anything analytical is nerdy, stupid, and regressive and retarded. Whereas anything that any normal person would just go along to get along, bro. It's vibing.
Yeah, we find this whole thing, and we're going to get into the part where women prefer men who can acquire more resources, and men are more interested in casual sex. Mm-hmm. And when we get to that point, which is unassailable, by the way, when we get to that point, it's like, why are you trying so hard, bro? We already know that, bro. We don't need evolutionary sciences for that, bro. Why are you trying so hard? You're a weird, a nerd. That she's basically trying to nerd shame people for being dispassionate and algorithmic, because it makes, especially when these people hurt her narrative.
Right.
That's what's going on here.
Behavior in which, where W is probability and C is cooperates and D is defect, W exceeds C over B. So if we extrapolate this finding to acts of indirect altruistic reciprocity between strangers, natural selection favors those who adopt these strategies that base the decision to help on the reputation of the recipient. So as you see, but they don't really help themselves when they try to defend their field by saying that they're doing the very thing that other behavioral scientists would say is extremely bad practice. The most common critique.
Yeah, but she's not defending her. She's not doing a great job of defending her own video when she's doing the same thing that she's claiming evolutionary psychologists are doing. She's right. The answer to the question is always patriarchy. Well, that means that patriarchy was the answer to the question before she even did the research. She's literally guilty of the bias that she claims evolutionary psychologists are guilty of. But those evolutionary psychologists that she claims to be like having conservative dogmas, when those evolutionary psychologists aren't even conservatives. That's the part that's fucking nuts to me. And then also blaming people who aren't evolutionary psychologists and then taking the things they say and then lumping it onto Dr. Buss. What's going on here, dude? Like, I don't understand. Have you guys noticed? Put a 1 in the chat if you notice that over 2/3 of her criticisms have to do with things that are not evolutionary psychology. Over 2/3 when she talks about me, or she talks about red pill, or when she talks about she shows shit in movies, or she talks about Tucker Max, or she talks about the polyamory that Jeffrey Miller has, or she talks about any of this shit. That's not evolutionary psychology. The title of the video is I Debunked Evolutionary Psychology. 2/3 of this video is dealing with things that are not evolutionary psychology. Myron Gaines is not evolutionary psychology. Talking about cavemen or primal instincts is not evolutionary psychology. They could be derivatives and ideas that may be fueled by something you read from evolutionary psychology, but by debunking someone who has an interpretation of what they read, you do not debunk the source material. Perhaps that is too complicated for some people to understand, but she has not even begun to debunk it. And by the way, there are some points that she makes later on in this video where she does a really good job, where I do feel like certain evolutionary psychologists are going way off in the fucking deep end and coming up with ideas that are absurd, okay? Or not provable at least. But like I said before, it's an iterative process. We make mistakes and we move forward. But the idea that we shouldn't even be studying this, ask yourself why.
Right.
Why would anyone not want you to study this? The dynamics between men and women. What if you could unlock the secrets to where you aren't getting cheated on or dumped or used for money? Oh, we can't have that, because that's what evolutionary psychology will teach you.
It asks the wrong question.
It asks the wrong questions. Exactly. And that's
like people give me shit about the red pill and they talk, oh, well, it's all rooted in evolutionary psychology and this and that. I'm like, yeah, even what it gets right, it gets right. What it gets wrong still asks a question that prompts you to think about shit like this that can't be processed with people who are just emotionally ego invested in emotionalism.
If you're watching this, I have a gift for you. Click the link below and I will send you a private invite to my community for free. Yes, free.